Questo Enrico, questo de tachiendo de femiesta de Pink Leo place. And needless to say, it's pretty early in the morning. Um, it's 5:30. I'm feeling about as wakeful as somebody who's not very wakeful. I went to bed pretty early last night. Got a good night's sleep, a solid night's sleep. But as I get up and start walking around the house, I start remembering all these things I have to do. And I'm not feeling especially motivated to do anything. Watched a little bit of hockey last night. But the San Jose Sharks ended up losing that game. Good morning. I need some go fast. I have to Luminello, the doctor. I'm to refill my script. Although I'm actually going to tell him either put me back on Adderall or just straight Dexedrine, please, because Vyvanse is too fucking expensive. And yes, I get it. They said, oh, it's going generic. You're soon going to be able to get generics. But that's still going to be like over $200. Whereas Adderall or Dexedrine is like $30, I don't know about Dexedrine. I've never gotten Dexedrine before, but it's actually kind of the doctor who sort of suggested it. He says the reason you go through these like diminishing returns crash cycles with Adderall is because of the second amphetamine in there. It's not a very good amphetamine. So it'd be nice if he just put me straight on Dexedrine. But I'll give him options and he can do what he wants, It's like I'm really rather enjoying life pretty nicely without any speed right now. But I'm also getting next to nothing accomplished, which is a bit of a problem. I mean, last month I paid over $400 for my Vyvanse. Now, granted, we saved a couple $100 on Rachel's olanzapine, which we saw a commercial for the other day on TV, by the way. I was like, do you have bipolar mania? Do you go crazy all the time? If so, try olanzapine. It's another drug that Tiffany wants to be on. Tiffany wants to be on every drug that she sees on commercial. So, fuck that CVS pharmacist in Oakhurst who suggested I go on Vyvanse in the first place. So I don't remember who it was that suggested that we go to take the little wilderness car to get the fixed spot. But we ended up following that suggestion, so good job for that person. And it was a fun and interesting outing in our little wilderness car. It's not a good way to go a long distance on the road because it's pretty loud compared to riding in a car. But it got us where we were going and back, so good for the little wilderness car. My plan this morning is actually, I'm going to end up getting up Rachel a little bit earlier than she probably wants to get up, maybe like 9 o'clock, Then I'll put the, hey Fate Wind, I haven't seen you in a long time. Have you? I mean, I have stated opinions on Israel-Palestine. My position is the only way you're going to get Israel to agree to a two-state solution, which is the only possible solution, is to sell it as the worst outcome for the Palestinians. Because the Israelis hate them so much now that they spoke up. Biden's in Israel today? Well, he should get some matzo ball soup while he's there. Or, what are delicious, latkes with applesauce. That's maybe the most delicious Jewish food of all. Latkes with applesauce. And, or sour cream, both even. Mon, you like Biden? I don't like Biden, but I guess I prefer a weak, ineffective president over a strong president who's doing the wrong things. Well, those are different questions, right? I would address Taiwan in one specific way, and I'd address, at this point, Russia and Ukraine are already, deep into a war. So you have to be a little bit more nuanced in your response. I would straight up blockade Taiwan. Say, sorry, China, you're not having any piece of this shit. If you want one China, Taiwan can rule over all China, not the PRC. I mean, Putin obviously waited for Biden to get in office before he launched his full blast invasion of Ukraine. Because Biden's weak. At this point, I'm not sure what I'd do with Ukraine. I don't think I'd send U.S. troops, but we might send the Air Force or something. I don't really love the idea of boots on the ground, In general, our president, I try to limit our military engagements to Air Force and naval engagements rather than having, like Marines in some city on the ground where they can get shot and stuff, Do we owe them boots on the ground? Oh, well, yeah, we do. The thing is, obviously, we should have adhered to our obligations as indicated in the Minsk protocols. But what I'm saying is, now that we've failed to do so, it's a trickier matter, right? It's hard to come into a war 4 years late and say, oh, well, now we're going to adhere to the Minsk protocols. So that makes that a little bit more complicated of an issue. In general, other countries cannot be trusted. I mean, the U.S. cannot be trusted to make treaties with other countries because the president changes and like Trump did a good job of pulling us out of a lot of international agreements that we should never have gotten into in the first place. But that's why other countries can't trust us to engage in any treaties with them. You can't sleep at all, shaking your head? Well, have you tried heroin? I hear that helps you sleep. It's okay, everybody. Did anybody get hurt in that fall? It's all about keeping power and making money. Well, it's not all about keeping power and making money. It's about a number of factors. There are a multiplicity of different power wells with different desired outcomes, agendas, and different points of leverage. There's a tendency amongst a lot of people, maybe everybody, that Rachel's co-host. You need to hump? Is that what it is all around him? I mean, it does seem like we're getting closer and closer to World War III. I will run for president, but not for this upcoming term. I will run for it next time. And I'm going to have to get my teeth fixed before then, Rachel is co-host. I've encouraged her to behave as though it's her channel as much as mine. But, she still live streams on her own channel instead. Which is fine. And YouTube somehow knows we're married. Because, when, I don't think I might be subscribed to Rachel's channel, but I'm not even sure if I'm subscribed to it. But when I was driving back from LA and I got on the freeway and I opened up YouTube, it was the first thing suggested to me was Rachel's live stream. So YouTube obviously knows that we're together. And I like how Google Photos knows what's going on in my life too. It's just to send me a suggestion. We've put together a slideshow of your first months in Mariposa. Oh, you figured out that I moved to Mariposa, huh? I never thought of Rachel as a YouTuber, She had a YouTube channel, but I didn't think of her as a YouTuber because, like a lot of people, she has a few videos up here and there, But she always thought of herself as a YouTuber, I think. And she kind of always preferred the narrative that we were two YouTubers that came together rather than one YouTuber and a fan of that channel. I think the latter is more accurate, but whatever Rachel wants the position it has is fine with me. called anticipatory gacking. I anticipate that this bong rip is going to make me pukey. I'm sorry to hear that, Oliver Linehan. You know what you should do? Abduct him and torture him to death. Sometimes I have violent fantasies. You know, about like that guy who comes in and tries to bully Rachel by body shaming her. I have violent fantasies involving this. And it's like, you need to be blowtorched. Well, see how you feel about bullying Rachel after I blowtorch you. I used to say DFWE. Don't fuck with Eric. But nobody really fucks with Eric anymore. Everybody's kind of stopped trying to do that. So now the message should really be DFWR. Alright, well, if he's not generally evil, then don't use map gas in your blowtorch, Oliver Linehan. Just use propane. That's fair. What's her channel? I think it's called... Oh, Winston Vaughn must have linked it right there. I think it's just called Rachel Lapalosa or something. Maybe she changed it to Rachel Strauss. I'm not sure. She seems genuinely happy about taking my name, you know? Which is really gratifying. My first wife didn't want to take my name at all. Good morning, K.E. It's definitely morning, not evening, unless you're a foreigner. Are you a foreigner, K.E.? From a foreign land? In Hawaii right now, it's like, like almost 4 in the morning? A foreigner? A foreigner here in my live stream? From a foreign land? Well, welcome, exotic foreigner. Welcome. We don't have a policy against foreigners here, so it's fine. KE comes from the exotic land of Europe. You're a Strauss too? Your first name's Gruntcore and your last name's Strauss? I like Gruntcore Strauss. That's a good name. I think you've been a rough week, so you're trying to find some distraction wherever you can find it. But you can find a little bit of it here. I can only promise to distract you 8 distractions. After 8, then you might have to seek distraction elsewhere. I'm not as powerfully distracting this morning as I usually am. Maybe just because I haven't pooed yet. You got a reminder of how much humanity sucks? You married me in your dreams, huh? Well, Rachel and I aren't engaging in any polyamory, so you'll have to get divorced from me in your next dream. Rachel did a good job of marrying me. Marrying me really fixed all of the problems in Rachel's life. And, of course, made me very happy. Yeah. Don't fuck with Rachel. My life message used to be DFWE. Because I will crush you under my boot, motherfucker. That used to be my message in life. Don't fuck with Eric. He does not like it, and he will crush you under his boot. But nobody ever tries to fuck with me anymore, so there's no point in even having that message. Now the message is don't fuck with Rachel, but unfortunately, the people who fuck with Rachel do so anonymously from a great distance, and there's not any way for me to get them. So I just have to deal with it. You know, that's what happens when you yourself are unfuckwithable. Is people just start going after your loved ones because they're fucking horrible. No boots are gonna squash me, KE. You can forget that right now. There are no boots big enough to squash me. I'm Eric, okay? I have both my middle fingers ready to deploy at any second. Well, I don't fight with my hands, I fight with my mouth. Yeah, it's almost morning plops. The clock is right. You know that whole pen and sword thing, right, KE? I'm 100% pen side, 0% sword side. I mean, if I were president, obviously I wouldn't be afraid to use the United States' sword to preserve liberty and justice in the world. The world is full of cowards. They somehow project their cowardice far and wide despite refusing to show their faces and take nor take any meaningful action. Your stomach hurts hearing me say that? Hearing me say what? That I'm on the pen side, not the sword side? Ah, justice. Justice is critically important, KE. It prevents stomach aches, right? It prevents stomach aches. It prevents seething rage. Justice is the solution to an equilibrium disrupted by some wicked party. Because if you don't remedy injustice, then it just sticks around in your craw, just pricking it with prickles. But sometimes you have to get justice in ways you don't want it. Like, Rachel has had to accept reparations in lieu of real justice. Well, it's true, KE, that as long as we exist, we will make distinctions between justice and injustice. But it's also true that there are plenty of individuals in plenty of places who experience a substantially more robust framework of justice enforcement than people in other places. So, by and large, living in the US, you experience primarily a just relationship with the government, which is to say, accountability forums still operate as they should. Um, in other words, if you get your rights violated by a criminal, the cops will try to arrest that person and prosecute them and put them in jail in response to it. You know, if someone steals your car, the cops will try to get it back for you. You know, and in fact, I one time had my car stolen, and the cops got it back for me like 15 minutes after I called them. It was crazy. That was a long time ago, but it was probably like 1990, 1991. My friend and I, and my girlfriend at the time, and this girl he was dating at the time, we we all went to the Pixie show, and we came back from the Pixie show, and we hung out in his apartment for a little while before we drove back home. Um, and we were in there maybe an hour. And then when we came outside, uh, then my car was gone. And we called the cops, and they came and took the report. They drove away. They came back with my car like 15 minutes later. They saw the guy just driving down the road. How to deal with the rage, though, and to not hyperfixate on overwhelming injustice. I mean, that's a tricky question, Kay, because um, if the injustice is close to you, it's been done to you, or someone you care a lot about, it's hard to get over it without if you have SI conscious without actually attaining some justice. I guess the way that you talk to yourself if you can't attain justice is to highlight to yourself all the ways in which you do enjoy a just environment and a just life. I mean, if you can find an instance where one time you got away with being unjust, and you can sort of point to that and say, um, well, the balance sheet kind of zeroes out, you know? Either way, one way or another, KE, you're not going to find satisfaction in throwing things against walls. You need words and an explanation to yourself to make it okay. It's the only way you're going to get over it. Well, I think I don't doubt it, KE, and so you probably can't find instances where you behaved badly like that person did. But if you go back in your memory, you can probably think of instances where you feel bad about what you did, and if you highlight those to yourself, maybe you can do the math and have a balanced ledger of justice. I'm not sure. But I feel you, dog, cat, whatever you prefer. I too can't stand it. Um, that's why I avoid anything that makes me feel bad at all costs. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to read anything. I'm trying to be happy here. And I've got good cause to be happy. So, in that regard, when I look big picture, I try to remember. Good morning, my beautiful darling. So the man with the great machete says meaningful action helps and also stoic outlook, and I'll only try to change things in your proximity that you can actually impact. Those are all good suggestions, but I think what I said is correct for KE because I think she's the same type as me. What she needs is an explanation rather than meaningful action or a stoic outlook. You can't change your outlook like that. KE is an ENTP. She's a justice whore. You know, justice slut. She can't stand injustice, and because injustice is always basically manifest for an ENTP as words that cannot be rebutted. Like, this wickedness happened because of Mia, and you are to blame, and you got away with it. Well, you can't justify it in any way. Stop trying to win the case for the bad guy. Start trying to win the case for yourself. Like, well, I've incurred this bullshit, and presumably later the universe is going to pay me off for it. That's a possible narrative, you know. But you're not going to successfully talk your way into believing the person didn't behave badly. Don't be their defense attorney. Be your own defense attorney. Or the prosecutor, you know. However, the thing is, if you're the prosecutor, you're just going to get madder and madder as you think of all the reasons why this person should be punished for their wickedness. So, you might be better off trying to create narratives about how the karmic economy of the universe will see justice done at some point. It's also helpful to remember how unhappy these people must be, right? The people who behave in indefensible ways and then successfully avoid accountability, they can't be happy people, you know? They've got to be kind of miserable. For those of us with a certain degree of decency, we see these awful people and assume they're just walking away laughing. But really, they're in a constant state of fear. They're constantly avoiding being held accountable because this is not the only time they behave like that. It's like the people who come around and try to bully Rachel around here, or the person, or whatever. Do you think that's because they feel good about themselves and are doing interesting things and are happy with their life? I don't think so. I mean, that's not how happy, decent, healthy people behave. That's how people who need to tear down other people in order to feel okay behave. So the thing to remember there is they don't feel okay. And they've got no capacity for growth or self awareness because If they did, they wouldn't behave like that. So I try to remember that the world, being a human being, uh, the goal is to be free, free from intrusive thoughts, free from obligations, free from anger over injustice, free from injustice, and then and free from your own ego challenges, which everybody has, you know? We all have things about which we feel insecure or ways in which people can successfully critique us. We have our vulnerabilities. And I think it's important to be free from those limiting narratives too. For an ENTP, actualization is a very intellectual process, a very abstract process. You know, in some sense, for an ENTP, actualization is embracing their own childishness, as it probably is for every type. Embracing those areas where, like, you're polar. When you're hitting on your absolute value and you're polar, things are going well. Things are going really well. When you're hitting for power and average at the same time in your polar, things are going well. Things are going as well for you as they are for the Philadelphia Phillies in their series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They lead 2-0, and they beat the Diamondbacks 10-0 yesterday. You can't control, I think this is narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. You can learn to spot them and ignore them or imprison them. Well, the other thing you can do is hit them in their sixth slot function. It's the only way you're going to actually change a toxic person's behavior at all. You've got to hit them in their sixth slot function. So if you've got a toxic INTP or INFP, you got to tell them they're lying. If you've got a toxic ESTJ or ESFJ, you got to make them experience bad concrete impacts. If you've got a toxic INFJ or INFJ or ISFJ, you got to hurt their feelings. If you've got a toxic ESFP or ENFP, you got to make them look bad. Although that doesn't seem to work with toxic ESFPs, I don't know. Sometimes it works. Hello, luxury. Is that what it says? I have to go inside where I can see things. Or get my glasses one of the two. Do I have my glasses with me? No, of course not. Of course not, because Eric can't seem to keep a pair of glasses in his possession or on his body anymore. for more than like 5 seconds. Me and my 5-second glasses. I have 5-second glasses syndrome. I don't know if Rachel is listening to this live stream anymore. But if she is, I want to warn her. And my plan is to get her up on the earlier side. Like, 8 or 9, maybe 9. To get working on this flat tire, go to town, etc. Okay, jeez. Did you hear that meow? Boy, that's a cat who really needs to be watched eating. Oh yes, Daddy knows. He got the angry long meow because he wasn't watching you eat. There, is that better? Okay, I'll sit down. He wants me to sit down. You're a good kitty and I love you. He may have been meowing at you guys. He might want you guys to watch him. I'm not sure. Oh, kitty man spectacular. You're so full of meows. Yes, you are full of meows. And you're full of meows. Wonderful meows. Yes. Daddy knows. And Daddy loves. But Daddy's not going to watch you eat anymore. He's watched you eat enough. You just need to get over that already. He's not going to get over it, though. He's going to just keep insisting we watch him eat forever. Well, looks like I have successfully lost my glasses. They're there. Because you're not tired anymore, Rachel. That's why you keep waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. You've gotten plenty of sleep. Okay, well, then I may just go try to deal with this by myself if need be. Don't listen to that thing, Rachel. That's ridiculous. Waking up at 5 a.m. equals grief or sadness. I mean, you should look at this the other way around. You should check yourself for grief and sadness first, and then figure out what you're feeling grief or sadness about. Not conclude that because Chinese medicine says if you wake up early. I mean, I woke up at 5 in the morning. Does that mean I have grief or sadness? I wake up at this time every day. It's not because I have grief or sadness, it's because that's how I sleep, The thing is, Rachel, I think you're conditioned to assume if that you have some sort of problem, you know? If you get up at 5 a.m., then just get up at 5 a.m. Because an unhealthy, intuitive, logical extrovert, it's an ENTP. There's no such thing as suppressed NE. So it is possible that an ENTP who's being abused um, behaves for some stretch of time more like an ISFJ because people tend to retreat to their fourth slot function when trauma hits them. But that's, I mean, I guess you could talk about suppressed NE if there's somebody actively suppressing it. Like when I was in a relationship with Kimberly, I I got quieter and quieter and quieter over the course of the relationship as she used various things I said, various kinds of jokes, etc. Um, I got less. My expert intuition displayed less around her, but I probably compensated by, I didn't it didn't impact my expert intuition's display online. So in that sense, it's possible for you to be in a situation where some other person is quote unquote suppressing your nature by abusing you all the time. Well, if you're on antipsychotics, then it's probably not particularly helpful to um, I don't know what it's like to be on the drugs you're on, but my extroverted intuition is unturnoffable, more or less, unless I'm watching a really engrossing anime. But even then, as I'm watching it, I'm still generating possibilities all the time. Like, um, for example, I'll read the subtitle and I'll think, they really should have used this verb there, or maybe this verb would have been a better translation of whatever the Japanese says based on the context. No, well, the noises that happen. Yeah, that you got a good point, Winston's mom. Rachel, here's probably the reason you wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, because that's when I wake up. And I get up, I turn on lights, I make noises. We don't deal with any unpleasant noises here, fortunately, Winston's mom. Um, who's Guy Vance? Not trusting or feeling NI is worthy is a thing, even when it is ever present. Sure is a thing. And I heard from an ESTJ I typed one time. I said something like, "What do you think about?" Okay, well, waking up at 5 a.m. doesn't prevent you from sleeping in. So, and also, to a certain extent, you have to let your body dictate to you when you sleep. You can't just decide, I'm going to sleep from meow to meow and expect it to happen. So you get up at 5 a.m., you go to the bathroom, you get a little food, you go back to bed, you sleep in. If that's what you want to do, fine. But also, try to respect your body a little bit. If you're not tired, then you're not going to sleep well. You're just going to get frustrated being in bed. Well, like I said, Don Kynos, it's impossible for me to speculate about your functions because I don't know what type you are for sure. And additionally, you're on antipsychotics, so I don't know what to say about that. I want to eat ice cream mochi and not gain weight. Well, that may or may not be possible depending on your metabolism. I can eat whatever all the time, and my weight never changes. You're practicing willing your body into subservience to your preferences. Anyway, Rachel, I don't mean to be stepping on your SI. So you do whatever you want, whatever you feel is best, okay? And just try to remember that, like, I get up multiple times a night and go back to bed, and it's not any problem. Sometimes I get up, smoke a cigarette, etc. Well, for me, generating good ideas and coming up with good insights just happens. It's like it's not something that has has any prerequisites that have to be met. It's an unavoidable, continual thing that happens that I come up with, quote unquote, insights and um, ideas, but not all of them are good. I come up with a lot of the ideas, and some of them are good. Hopefully, I don't voice the ones that aren't good very much. But one thing that I could probably work on in life is certain kinds of unpleasant stuff that I don't really want to do. Right. So if you're studying something, then or if whatever it is you're doing, you're gonna generate ideas about that thing if you're an ENTP. It's gonna it's gonna present you with so many things that you're unavoidably gonna be like, well, here's a thought regarding meow meow. Here's a thought regarding meow meow. You know, this happens all the time. It can't be stopped. It is true that if I want to make good media objects, I need to prioritize NI above NE. I could work on not forcing my great ideas on others. Well, you know, people only really appreciate something if it's forced on them. You know, like what's happening right now? I got up. I know I've got a lot of things I should do, need to do, etc. But my inclination is to be lazy and to wait for Rachel to get up and then have company while I do these boring things that we have to do. But I'd probably be well served to try to be a little bit more like I am on speed when I'm not on speed and just put a handle on shit myself, you know. Because if I end up waiting for Rachel, then that's going to engender some conflict between us because we're on different sleeping schedules. So what ends up happening is I play around, screw around in the morning, waiting for Rachel to wake up. And then by the time she's about ready to wake up, I'm about ready to take a nap. So I need to make better use of the time before she gets up and not just be like, well, I'll wait for Rachel's company to get things done because then we just won't get things. We won't get enough things done. Like I have my most energy and most capacity to accomplish things starting at 5 a.m. if I'm not on speed, you know, like this is my most productive part of the day if I utilize it accordingly. Is the time when I have the most capacity to attend to boring stuff. But you know, that's why I need go fast, right? If I have amphetamines, all of this stuff becomes a moot issue, right? It's like at that point I'm on speed, I'm less emo. Yeah. Well, You might consider changing doctors. I have a good doctor. You know, I recommend him to everybody. Dr. Ingram. He does psychiatry, like remote psychiatry. He's Rachel's doctor. He's my doctor. He was my mom's doctor briefly. He's great. I highly recommend him. Best doctor ever. He really cares. I know that's maybe a weird metric to use to evaluate a doctor, but it actually kind of matters a lot. Heidegger's combinatorial buzzwordism. He's the universal doctor. He's the Platonic form of doctor. Dr. Michael Ingram. I think that's Michael. In Los Angeles. He's kind of like in West Hollywood. Let me see. I think so. He's got his hands covering his face, so I can't say for sure, but yeah, that's him. That's the one. That's the correct doctor. I strongly recommend the doctor that Winston's mom linked. Oh, I'm sorry you have voices. Apparently, that's a sign of being crazy. Okay, yeah, I've already studied the ideas well before sharing. I know good ideas when I hear them, says Gruntcore. Reporting him as we speak. Who are you reporting? You're a cop? Really? You're reporting him? For what? No, he's a good doctor. He uh he cured Rachel. He did a good job with my mom with her dementia. He's just prescribing me the same drug I was already on. You know. he didn't. The only change in my prescription that he had is with him is he added gabapentin to help with my neuropathy, which is not even a scheduled drug or anything. So, he's not like that. I'm not suggesting Dr. Ingram will write you a script for whatever you want or anything. I'm just saying if you actually have psychiatric problems like it appears Don Kinos does, he's an excellent psychiatrist, you know. He does a great job. I mean, most impressively and importantly, he successfully cured Rachel's bipolar mania. He found the right combination of drugs to put it into straight up remission instead of just being sort of and poorly treated, you know. And really, the only reason I got him as my doctor is because I felt bad continuing to have this doctor in LA write me my script every month, even though I never went to see him really ever, you know. And he was being like super cool. And before he said anything and made me do something differently, I decided I'll just get my own doctor that I pay money to treat me. Oh, well, Grant Core. If you were a cop, I would have thought the world's a better place because there's a cop named Grunt Core. What did I come in here for? To watch you eat? I don't think so. I don't remember why I came in here. I don't know what I even came in here for. You steal as much valor as you can. You know what, Grunt Court? That's where the one point. And it's Wednesday, which means wonder point values are doubled. So you have just gotten yourself 2 wonder points. What do you think about that? Well, I know why I went in the kitchen. I must have been looking for my coffee because I can't find it anywhere. Now, get your glasses, Eric. How did you lose them again? Here they are. Okay. Well, yeah, sure. Valhalla Valor is just the juiciest possible kind of valor. Oh, I must have left my coffee cup in the bathroom. Fuck it, I'll just leave that light on for right now. Too hard to turn off at the moment. Have you ever noticed that when you make coffee kind of weak, it starts tasting like tea? This is kind of weak coffee, and I like it kind of weak. It tastes kind of like tea. Wonder points are what you Brits call breasts. My coffee is not as hot as when I brewed it. Doorways cause forgetting. Really? That's really interesting. The doorway effect. Yeah, so I need to do a little bit of a better job of having fun by myself and not always just waiting for Rachel. Once I engage in things, then I start having fun. In doing them, it's just I have to start doing them. Molly, can you come here and show me your wonder points? I'd like to take a quick glance, just a quick glance at your wonder points. Is that an imitation of Grunt Core picking up chicks at the pub? Lovely evening here in Manchester. Can I take a quick glance, just a quick glance at your wonder points? Can I just give it a quick squeeze, the wonder points? Well, and you got you're a Bobby, you know. You got a baton, I guess, that you swing around. And you go around and say, "Hello, morning." Lovely wonder points, lovey. You refer to women as lovey. Ninor. Ninor is a good thing to say as well. I didn't even go through a doorway. I just went through an archway into the kitchen. And I still forgot why I went in there. Does it count with archways as well? And it wasn't until I sat down again and realized I couldn't find my coffee again that I realized, oh, that's what I was looking for. Why is it both cats and dogs? Well, because if it were just one of them, it would be a smaller storm. A mixture of both feline and canine elements is necessary for a full blast perfect storm. Katadoxa. Cats and dogs may have come from the Greek expression katadoxa, which means contrary to experience or belief. It's raining katadoxa. They come from ancient Greece, Gruntcore. That's where they come from. A few of them come from the moon. Well, yes, a few of them. But that's a minority of them. Most of them come through a space-time portal from ancient Greece. Grecian cats and dogs are just like regular cats and dogs, except they have the Olympics. That's why some people, instead of saying it's raining cats and dogs, they say it's raining Olympics. It's raining Olympics is a phrase that's growing in popularity. Weirdly, Grecian cats have bald chests and backs. That is strange. That's surprising. They love to wrestle. Let's start wrestling. I want to start wrestling. Let's get into wrestling. Oh, wrestling. You're so silly. Well, I'll probably wrap this up pretty soon. No, the cat would kick my ass. Watch some cartoons if I can, if anything's come out. I might go back to bread too. I will. If I do go back to bread, I'll go back to bread here and downstairs, and hopefully Rachel will get some good sleep. She does not like it when I or anyone else steps on her SI at all. Just like I don't like it when people step on my SE, so it's understandable. So yeah, have a good day, everybody, and I'll probably live stream again later. Well, there is that sound too. I don't think Rachel can hear that in the house, but I could hear through the garage door the lady across the street yelling at her kids to get ready for school or whatever. Bye.